This ride is honestly insane. And that being said, I do now rank it as my number. Hello, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be discussing a roller coaster that I had the chance to ride very recently, and this ride did open. I don't actually know when it opened, but 250 years ago. And whether or not I think this coaster could be the best in the world, or that I've ever done, because opinions exist. The coaster I am of course on about is the brand new Vekoma manufactured flying coaster, F.L.Y, at Phantasialand in Germany. I got the chance to go out and ride this for the first time, and let me tell you, it was something else. Now, for those of you residing in the United of Kingdoms like myself, a good comparison to make to this coaster with its concept is of course Air or Galactica. It's a flying coaster. This one's just 10 times faster and 10 times more crazy. So the area itself is called Ruckberg. Sorry if I get that wrong. And you enter this area through a huge gateway along the main street past the entrance. It's not Disneyland. The castle was actually just a chair swing all along. And you go under this brick-walled tunnel passage through to where F.L.Y actually is. And once you've been through there, you come out into the area of F.L.Y. And I'm not going to lie to you, when I first stepped foot in there, my jaw was just on the floor. The ride genuinely swoops past every part of pathway or theming piece, no matter the direction you look in. And the two launches are directly down the middle of the area, one elevated and one underground. Unless you can somehow see underground, you can't see the second launch, but you can see the first one. You head underneath that first launch through this huge theming structure, and you reach the main entrance for F.L.Y. And I would say the experience starts here, but it literally has started from the first time you walk into that tunnel. You make your way into the queue, and you head all around the ride as it again goes past every single place you look. There's once again loads of bits of theming, such as machinery, blueprints, this room within the walls, a huge table, and the ride gets that close to the queue line that there's parts where you literally have to step up, then step back down again shortly after, instead of just going straight through. And honestly, this queue line, despite being the longest queue line in existence, is honestly amazing. You get so many good views of the ride and the area, and the first time I walked through it with the soundtrack blaring in the background, the goosebumps everywhere. I almost did a madness. You reach the split off point between front row and normal rows, and you go down into this nice screening area in which you go further into the locker room, and you of course put your belongings in the lockers, never to be seen again, which you retrieve on the other side at the end of the ride. Now, there are metal detectors shortly after the locker room, which is why literally no one but one very rebellious person has a POV of this thing. So I won't be able to show you much footage of the station nor on ride, but you sit down on your seat to the side of the track this time, not like Air where you kind of raise up, and you set off on F.L.Y. And all I'm going to say is, from the dispatch to the first launch, I didn't expect any of that pre-launch section, and it was amazing. One of the highlights of the ride in my opinion. So yeah, incredible. And at the end of that pre-launch section, you twist around and just end up on your front in the flying position, which is such a cool way of doing it. And you head into the first launch. And I'm not going to lie, on my first ride on this, I had no idea where I was going from that point. It was insane. You turn upwards, which is incredibly intense. You swoop over into an inversion, which whips you round on the back row, and various drops, turns, flying over the area, into and out of tunnels. It's mental. And each element on each row feels completely different. On the back row, you get whipped round and it's super intense, whilst front row pushes you through them, and it's relatively intense in its own way. And there's even a smoke effect too. Wow, you're already going incredibly fast and you dive down into the second launch, which, my god, the sense of speed on this thing it's like nothing else. Well, it's similar to Taron's launch across the one area in between, but because you're flying, it feels so intense. But you get the point. You accelerate upwards into a huge airtime hill, and you dive down over so many different turns, once again, inversions, everything like that. And the one thing it never does is slow down. Right from the first launch to the brake run at the end, you just don't even have a chance to think about anything else. You fly down into the brake run. I know I'm going to continuously say fly this, fly that. I can't. And you turn the corner back into the seated position and you exit the ride. And as I said, I got off for the first time and wondered, well, what on earth happened? It's so fast, so intense, and so whippy over its elements that you genuinely don't have a chance to process anything first time round. Which is why I did it a total of 7 times on my visit. I got the chance to do the front once, the back twice, and also a few rows in the middle. And it's honestly amazing wherever you sit. The more I rode it, the more I enjoyed it. And the restraints don't even feel restrictive. They're vest restraints. They don't feel restrictive at all. The theming's incredible. And honestly, I couldn't recommend going out to that park more. They have F.L.Y and Taron and Chapas and Black Man. Basically, the park's amazing. If you can go, please go. But the big question is, do I think F.L.Y is the best coaster I've ever ridden? Now, my number one before I rode F.L.Y was Zadra at Energylandia, and that ride is absolutely insane. Built by RMC. Get one in England. And as I've said multiple times this video, F.L.Y is beyond incredible. But I do still rank Zadra at number 1. Although that being said, I am incredibly torn between preferring it over Taron, which is at number 2. So I'm just not ready to discuss that conversation yet. So yeah, it's not my number 1, and I don't think it's the best coaster in the world, but I would 100% say this is the best themed coaster out there worldwide. But personally, I prefer 1 or 2 of the other rides that I've done. It's still sat in my top 3 though, and oh, I love it to bits. That being said, 50 likes and I'll do a top 50 coasters. Oh god.